self-love looks different for different people. And I think on my side, it is, like I've previously mentioned, that system, that, routine that I have going in my life. But more than anything, I think it's when I'm in tune with my inner being.
Yeah,
That's when I
definitely.
know I'm loving myself.
Self-love comes in a form of discipline, right? Because when you're disciplined, it's basically the highest form of being self and being true to self. When you're disciplined, you see things coming into effect the way that you would have wanted it, right?
And but we must also be honest about the reality that, considering our context, it's something that's so easily dismissed because everything else outweighs that one important factor.
Yes. Why are you
Why?
doing something that's only going to serve you and please you? Why are you not doing it to serve others? Remember, giving is such a powerful tool in one's life that, I mean, it's even in the word, the basics of giving and what it does. And for me, giving is such a pleasure that I do not want it to be misconstrued by people. Hello, I'm Ria.
Hi, I'm Mudie,
And welcome to The Working Mom.
So, guys, today on our chat, we have something intriguing, something exciting to talk about. So today's topic is self-love.
Yeah.
Speaking of self-love, so I've got a little bit of a surprise for Ria. We recently celebrated a month of The Working Mom going live. And there is a
Wow.
special lady who now I think is
Wow.
going to be doing a lot of our treats. Her name is Koketo. Her brand is called Cookies Bakes. So Ria recently enjoyed Koketo's work, and I decided I'm going to get her a treat. So one thing about Ria loves dessert, guys. Because you love dessert, I decided I'm going to get you
Cupcakes were fave. Oh my god.
There you go.
When I knew surprises. I can't
So
believe it. Oh my
So I asked Cookie to
goodness.
share her handles on social. So it's Cookies Bakes.
Oh my God,
she makes
guys.
these delicious homemade
Branded
cupcakes, cakes, everything you can think of that's delicious. That's a dessert.
Thank
that's
you.
a treat. Yeah.
More. I can't believe you. First episode, you pulled a stunt.
Second episode,
Third episode.
third episode, I'm pulling another
Guys,
stunt.
I don't know if this is going to show on
Is
camera.
it showing?
But these are
But
the
yeah,
cupcakes.
These are the cupcakes. I'm gonna do this.
Oh, thank you so much.
Ready, influencer.
Really influence. No, these are gorgeous. Thank you so much. These are the cupcakes.
Pleasure.
Oh, Mo.
They're Oreo
Thanks,
flavored.
Cookie. I really enjoyed your
Yeah.
cake the last time. So, yeah.
So yeah, that's my little surprise. I'll always be
No,
pulling
I shame.
stunts, Shem. I'm
the
gonna hand
stunt girl.
over. So guys, remember it's Cookies Bakes. It's homemade bakes. She's on Instagram and she is on WhatsApp, right? Cute, ne?
Very cute.
Today's topic is an intriguing one, and I think many a times it's spoken about in the context of, I do things that make sure that I'm taken care of, but we really actually need to be truthful and honest with ourselves about, do we as moms actually take care of
Take care of
ourselves?
ourselves, yeah.
And I guess it reminds me of that meme. You know that meme, yeah, when you're a corporate mom and you're trying to make sure you go to the gym, respond to WhatsApp number 669, still respond to your emails,
Yeah.
still maintain your friendships. You're an aunt, you're a sister, you're all of these
Wife,
things. You're a wife.
girlfriend.
It's a lot.
It's a lot,
It's
yeah.
a lot,
It's a
yeah.
lot. So then, I guess to just take us into the topic a bit more in detail, beyond the self-care Sunday phenomenon that people have obviously hyped up and it's the vibe, what does that then look like for you on a daily basis? And like, how does it translate to you making sure that you're still giving yourself that self-love
Yeah.
and still attending to the things that you need to attend to without neglecting, per se, that part of your life where you need to, love yourself fully without any compromise?
Self-love looks different for different people. And I think on my side, it is, like I've previously mentioned, that system, that, routine that I have going in my life. But more than anything, I think it's when I'm in tune with my inner being.
Yeah,
That's when I
definitely.
know I'm loving myself. As soon as I start getting ill quite a lot, as soon as I start being reactive, as soon as I start not being mindful of how I am in and around me as a being, I know that I'm not taking care of myself. And a lot of it is quite heavy on the demand around making sure you are committed to the things that you have promised yourself that you will do and you will be. I remember the one time you said to me, will you be committed when you don't feel like it?
Yeah, when the mood has changed.
When the mood has changed.
Yeah.
It challenged me so much because I consistently now have that in the back of my mind. I'm like, yes, I do, say to myself, I'm a gym bunny, I eat healthy, I'm diligent, I'm obedient in my walk with Christ, all of these things. But do I do those things even when I don't feel like it, when the mood is not what I actually had as a mood initially when I committed to those things?
Yeah.
So it's a bit of a catch-22 because you can't give it to someone else.
Itself.
Itself.
It comes from self, right? And I think just to obviously hop onto that as well, for me, self-love comes in a form of discipline, right? Because when you're disciplined, it's basically the highest form of being self and being true to self. When you're disciplined, you see things coming into effect the way that you would have wanted it, right? Especially when you've already got like a plan in place as to when you want to achieve certain things and when a goal would need to be obviously orientated into your life. That's when I see it coming through, that discipline and always just staying commitment to whatever you had decided and whatever you had or obviously just mapped out in your mind for your life. And with that comes obviously just planning, strategy, and faith. Like, guys, for me, faith is a very important thing. That's how I stay grounded. That's where my self-love reflects a lot of the time. And you'll hear me obviously referencing the word quite often because that's just how I'm rooted in a system that works for me and allows me to then show myself that self-love that I always have to nurture and make sure that it's coming through for self and not for anyone else.
We've normalized almost bucketing it into self-care Sunday and just letting it exist just in that space where you're like, okay, it's a Sunday, it's a skincare day for me. I can, make sure that I am meal prepping. That's when you see now all of us ladies are now blending, we are chopping. And in that one day, as great as it is that you're kickstarting your week, in that one day, that is the only time where you're like, I am making a conscious effort to be invested in self.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, self doesn't rest.
And it doesn't end on a self-care Sunday, right? It needs to consistently come through.
Yeah.
And with consistency, it's not to say that every day you need to be 100%.
Yeah.
Sometimes you'll be a 50% on a Monday. On the Tuesday, you're at 20. On the Wednesday, you're at 30. And that all adds up to the 100, right?
Yeah.
So I think a lot of us make that mistake of thinking every day I must be on 100. And what happens you then get exhausted.
Yeah.
That fatigue, it kicks in because you're trying to squash so many things and squeeze so many things into the one day where you're not realizing that it could be easily spread out and integrated into one over the 7-day period or whatever that looks like to you. You know,
And I'm really guilty of that.
we all
as
are.
as
We all
routine
are.
based as I am,
We
I'm so
really
guilty
are.
of that. Like at the end, when you know you're working on a project, and then when you get to almost deadline time,
Yeah.
that's when you even make an excuse and be like, no, I work well under pressure. Like when I'm pressured, I produce
I produce the most.
the most. I'm doing
Yeah.
the best that I can. But the reality is actually you've forgotten the comfort of having your mind almost slowly evolve and unfold in delivering who you are over time.
That's good.
I'm just like,
That is
actually, when I reflect, I should have made that investment. And when you speak to investment, you think about the reality is self love is more a conversation with self around, are you worth it? Because I think we 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 take for granted the fact that we believe that we are worthy of things. So you think
Yeah.
you're worthy until
Yeah.
until you get to a point where you realize that I actually shortchanged myself
Yeah. You
by not showing up.
right? And with that shortchanging, a lot of people, when you realize that you have shortchanged yourself, it's mostly in cases where you think you have to now water yourself down so that people don't think, hey, oh my good.
Sure.
Forgetting that no, it's taken so much work
To get you
to
there.
to get myself to a place where I feel like I'm showing up as the best version, right? And then when you forget that, that's when you then shrink yourself, and then you now need to go back to the basics, whereas you shouldn't. You should actually be leveling up,
Yeah.
So I think with that, we need to really, really also give ourselves
Grace. Yeah.
when we
Yeah.
take, a bit of a step back, but knowing that, okay, that's where I should change myself. That's where I need to self-correct. And that's where, obviously, the discipline comes through and how you then
You get
build
to-
yourself going forward.
Yeah, you establish a follow through.
Correct.
You establish a follow through. Some of the follow through almost hacks that I have, I learned from you. So guys, Ria will tell you that we need to set an appointment for everything, right? So you know the month.
Yeah.
You know what you do religiously every month, or rather what you need to do every month. We just don't plan.
Yeah.
Right. And as busy as we are, we need to be honest about self-love as a working woman, as a working mother. Is about taking the accountability and saying, actually, nails are every 3 weeks. Hair is every, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know how many
System.
times I've called you and I've said, hey, it's not coming together. And I knew.
And you knew it was coming, but you
Yes.
left it for the last minute, right? I mean, I think as you're saying, Lena, last week
Yeah.
on the Saturday,
Yeah.
I went to 5 different places at once. One was in
I
a different
remember.
province,
Yeah.
then 3 different,
Yeah.
like, it was exhausting, but I got it done. But to what detriment?
Yeah.
It was.
At what cost?
Yeah, it was a lot. So I think it goes back to us saying you don't have to show up as 100% every day.
Yeah.
Stretch it out and integrate it into that 100% that will look whole at the end of the day for you. So honestly, I think doing that has helped me. And for that one day when I did 5 different locations in one day, I was like,
You were like,
this is not life, guys.
this is not it.
It's not. And I could have obviously planned better.
Yeah.
But yeah, these things happen. There will be days where you say, I thrive under pressure. Go CV now.
Well, you said, yeah, when you applied for the job, you said,
I thrive.
I thrive under pressure.
And that was me thriving.
And we shouldn't be thriving under pressure.
No, guys.
So for me, it means that we need to then reevaluate what self-love looks like. as the working mom. So the reality is, it isn't necessarily that one day in the week where you're like, okay, so have I done my hair? Have I done my skincare routine? Have I blended, the beetroot juice for the week?
Yeah.
What is it that we can, consider, reconsider, and evaluate so that we are doing better as a
Yeah.
collective, as a community, as the working mom? And I think it's, yes, critical that you have systems in place.
Yeah.
But from an internal perspective, the reality is that we are not necessarily aligned
Correct.
with self to be able to say we're actually loving ourselves. And I remember this morning, when I woke up, I was like, I'm not feeling like coming to record. And a lot of it had to do with external factors, external factors that had nothing to do with what we have planned. As business partners, as friends,
Yeah.
around how we want to see the future come about, right? But it was more around, navigating, my family's going through this. The kids, one of them is sick, da 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 da. And I had to go back to self to actually be able to show up.
To show up.
And there are things that are critical to you as an individual that actually define the self. And one of those things for me, obviously, will be the gym. So for me, I had to get my ass
To the gym.
self to the gym and be like, look myself in the mirror and be like, listen, you need to get yourself together.
Yeah.
And getting myself together meant, okay, so go back to the essence of who I am, go back into the prayer space, go back
prayer.
into, finding intervention with the one that grounds me to be able to show up. So self-love isn't necessarily, my skincare routine only. It goes beyond that for me to be able to say, here I am, world,
And I think, you know what, when you talk about being grounded and the one that grounds you in prayer, I think even his love for us is grounded in that, right? And how he expresses it, and then obviously how it translates in our lives as well, is who we are. So I think it's a moment for us to reflect that self-love isn't about pride or ego.
Sure.
Right? It's about coming up and showing up in humility.
Sure.
And that confidence that exudes grace, if I could put it that way. And with that, obviously, we are now looking at multifaceted layers of umang.
Yeah.
And hence why I said, you'll hear me a lot referencing the word.
Yeah.
I will pray. I will listen to a lot of music that speaks to my soul, particularly gospel and jazz, and I like also just a lot of instrumental music. I feel like it just brings me back to me. It just centers me, and I can actually feel myself breathing when I practice those things. And it's not even a religious thing for me. It's something that's just so natural, and it's a part of me. It comes to me so naturally. So I love that.
But you had to determine and establish what those things are
Over
to be able over the years to be able to be like, okay, so what works for Rhea? What are the key elements that will make sure Rhea actually exists in her highest self? And for me, the actual definition of self-love is existing in your highest self.
That's so good.
If we're being honest.
That is so good.
And we need to be honest about what are the things that will actually get you to that. I thoroughly enjoy how we exist as a being, but you miss that the beingness is internal. Like, why do you want to? Yeah. Why? How do you think you're gonna actually stand on the outside when you're shaky on the inside?
And looking at external factors, right? Like, how should we live at Babang?
Yeah. Yo.
And then you expect to show up as yourself.
Yo.
How? Like, make it make sense.
Bing, 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 bing. Make it make sense.
So I think we really, really need to go back to that. Like,
Jo.
wena umang. way. Like, if you get to that, I think it will be easier for you to then identify
Wow.
what then makes you.
Who and whose I am.
Simple. Simple.
The other day I had to say to my dad, kind of, what does my name mean? Ooh. Guys, trust me, being Mudia in grade 2 was hard. Mudia, where I had to actually explain. So my name actually means the one that carries the roots and the foundations of anything that's of value. And my dad derived it from a Setswana idiom that speaks to the one that actually creates generations. So from a place of grace, I unearth the next and the next and the next. And until I understood that,
Wow.
I was just floating. If you're being honest, until you understand who and whose you are, you're floating. And that's a combination of the people on earth that made you and the person who actually gave the people that are on earth that assignment to make you. I was just like...
Guys, names carry such a powerful meaning, and how it then plays out in your life is very... It's quite spiritual in a way.
Yeah.
Because even with my name...
Sorry, it's not spiritual. It's not religious.
No,
it's
not.
Spiritual. I just wanted to land that.
It's spiritual, guys.
Yeah.
Like, even how your life even plays out and living up to your name.
Yeah.
Like, even with the name Reabet, it's being given a portion of, right? God is giving you a portion of. And with God giving my family a portion of me in the physical form, and how I then give myself to other people. I think that's why I'm so, like, I love serving.
Yeah.
And I love...
Servanthood is your...
Yeah, like, I love it, guys.
Yeah.
It's nearly... Sometimes it will cripple you, but and I'll always say to my mom,
Never.
I'll never do that ever again.
I'll never do it again.
And she'll always say, but that's not who you are. You know, it is not who you are. And I will try to not do what God is telling me to do. And I'm like, but why must I do that?
Yeah.
You know, like last time it's an internal battle. But because in essence, it's not who I am, I'll go back to who I am and do what I'm directed to do.
But do you see that in the foundations of understanding yourself, only then can you say, actually, in reality, this is self-love?
Yeah.
But
there's the huge but.
Okay.
You're right.
Okay.
Because some people, because they know your nature, they'll try to ride on that and take advantage of it because they know you know. And I'm not necessarily doing things because I have to. I'm doing it because I need to. It's what I've been directed and told to do. And when I do not do it, my dear, things fall apart.
Things fall apart, right?
Things fall apart so badly because I did not follow instruction.
Why are you stepping out of your lane?
You know, why are you doing something that's only going to serve you and please you? Why are you not doing it to serve others? Remember, giving is such a powerful tool in one's life that, I mean, it's even in the word, the basics of giving and what it does. And for me, giving is such a pleasure that I do not want it to be misconstrued by people. And obviously, you will pick up some nuances of people knowing and feeling entitled to things. But I've had to now also look at that from a very different perspective and a higher mindset of, okay, even if a person feels entitled, I still need to stick to my assignment.
Yeah.
Right? And it's freed me in such, like, in so many ways.
Yeah.
It's freed me in so many ways of not holding on to the, but why must I carry on doing such?
Yeah.
I need to remember my assignment and that's
It
it.
is what it is. You're mandated to, you're directed to.
That's it.
You said something about higher mindset. And I love how
That's
we
layered though.
it's
And
multi-layered.
I don't even know. I know what I mean, right? And I
Yeah.
don't know if I should go deeper into.
Preach, Rhea, preach.
No, let's move on from it. Let's
And-
move
and
on from it.
I don't want us to move too far from it because I need us to be honest about the reflection around self-love. And I mean, listen, I have so much love for Self-Care Sunday and I don't want to, rip it apart as a concept. But where is the consistency in self-love if you're not ticking boxes around all of the aspects that actually say you are loving yourself? And I guess in the context of us as the working mom, we know that there isn't enough time to be able to cater to that, to be
Yeah.
able to say, I'm looking after me. You're consistently looking after everyone
else.
around you. So we almost need to be conscious of how we can integrate things into our daily lives, where we are able to say, okay, so I have accounted for me. Have you accounted for yourself?
yourself, yeah.
And you speak about, you said a higher mindset, right? So it goes, it's threefold. So you are speaking mind, body,
and spirit.
and spirit. But most of
That's
the time, I
exactly
think
it.
we are living in the body
In the
because
physical.
yeah, you're chasing. I mean,
Yeah.
soon it'll be debit orders are popping, and you're like making sure everyone is covered, making sure your family is accounted for.
Yeah.
But have you accounted for
yourself.
yourself? And
Wow.
I remember saying something on Instagram the other time. I said, imagine being so poor that all I have is money.
With money.
And that accounts for the mindset.
Yeah.
Because I'm even now I'm going into understanding my money personality. Guys,
Tell us.
cool it. This money personality thing is so crazy because it pulls the foundations of where you come from to be like,
and what you understand about money.
yes,
Right? That literacy
yes,
that you have when it comes to money.
and your reactions and your actions around it stem from kohai.
Yeah, and a lot of us only started getting into healthy love, well, not love, but like healthy relationships
Yeah,
with the money
yeah,
as we got older and started
Yeah.
working.
yeah,
That's when we started saying,
Okay.
I need healthier habits
Yeah.
when it comes to finances and how I use the money. So, yeah.
There was a season in my relationship where my partner said to me, I don't like how you speak about money. Oh, that guy will fetch your edges. He said, I don't like how you navigate money and speak about money. You speak about it like it's going
Yeah,
fela.
fela.
Like it's gotta like it's not coming back. Because at the time, I'm fresh out of singlehood, into my independence, into understanding that I can run my own and move my finances by myself. And now I'm having to come into a union with money.
Yeah.
And in a union, you can't operate solo.
Solo at all.
Because sometimes it dips this side and then it comes back on the other side. So you always have to think in the collective. And he said to me, it says a lot more about you than you realize.
Yeah. I think you and I are the opposite when it comes to money. And I was fortunate enough to meet someone that had similar traits when it comes to
No,
money.
you guys are copy-paste.
Like,
I told you.
we have such similar
the same
traits.
person.
When it comes to money, it's
Yeah.
it'll
come back.
Sure. Hare.
Yeah.
So, and I think that's another reason why we're so we're not reckless, we're free
Free.
when it comes to
Allowing
money.
flow.
Yes, we're so free. We will spend our last
Yeah.
money to treat ourselves,
Yeah.
knowing that it'll
Itlobo.
yeah, and
It'll
that's
go.
it. That's it.
And I guess understanding the fundamental flow in the context chelet, like we're talking about money. If you think about it, if you let self flow, right? it enables and unearths more of self. I could have never imagined myself sitting in front of a camera until I allowed you into my life. So the more of me I'm hiding, the less of me I'm actually giving.
Yeah.
So I'm not gaining anything.
You're not gaining anything at the end of the day.
At the end of the day, you're
Yeah.
not gaining anything by not being yourself.
And I think that's why I've never been a fan of that phrase, yeah, no new friends. I've never been a fan of no new friends. You are closing yourself off to so many opportunities. The very person you are saying no new friends to is the same person that could unlock so much for you, that could have been sent specifically for you.
Sure.
But because you are a no new friends person, you're losing out on so much.
But it's testament to the reality that if your version of self-love is very vain and surface level, you're not going to be able to pick up on those things. You're not going to be. Actually, it's you're coming for me. It's it says to me that the less I experience of life, because I am trying to make sure
That's
that
it. The
I
less.
look a certain way, the less I'm actually going to become. And the less, in reality, I actually don't love myself.
Sure. That is good.
Like
That is
I keep
so good.
I keep getting these revelations of what does this mean? And if we go to the foundations of what love is, so maybe let's split the two words, self and love, what love is. And I think we know that God is love.
God, yeah.
God is love. And if you are keeping and maintaining the relationship, because it's not about Sunday as much as it is about
Everyday life.
in the relationship with
Yeah.
God, to say, but if I indeed am who and whose I believe I am, all of these things will come flowing.
Yeah.
And I think I'm actually now having a moment. I need to account for flow. Am I allowing for flow in my life?
But I suppose this is exactly what these conversations are about and what they are for, right? It's not only for us to just discuss, but it's also for us to reflect
Yeah.
and also look into self, le rona,
Yeah.
as ourselves. Because
Yeah.
we're not pros.
We aren't.
We are still also learning
Yeah.
as we're going on this and walking this journey,
This
right?
journey, yeah.
Because, guys, I don't think we'll ever get to a point where you say, I've arrived and I've done it. You'll constantly just evolve.
Yeah.
And an idea that you had last year or how you perceived something last year is not necessarily how you might see it now. And that's okay. That's part of evolving. That's part of growing. And that's part of becoming.
It is. I think the biggest thing is, as you are evolving and becoming, I really like the word accounting for. I like having a laundry list of all of the things
Yeah.
that I am, so that if they need to be adjusted and adapted, I can do
can do
that.
it.
I recently was given the opportunity to join training for speaking out of the pink. And in that session, I vividly remember them asking us to go and introduce ourselves.
Yeah.
Do you know that when I sat down, the number of things that I was checking for,
Yeah.
I was just like, yeah, I didn't do well. But at the time I was
Yeah.
operating outside of myself because I was so conscious of everything around me that I left everything that's inside me.
Yeah.
So that's why I stood there and I felt like I fumbled, because I was grabbing for everything
Else, yeah.
outside.
But it's the conversation we were having, right?
Yeah.
That when we're speaking and it's just us and
Yeah.
our intimate circle, you'll say the most
Profound.
profound things.
Yeah.
But as soon as you get in front of a crowd or in front of a camera, that all flies out the window. And afterwards, when you reflect, you're like, damn, I should have said A, I should have said B, I should have said C. And that's why for me, going back to you saying you were given that opportunity to attend that training,
Yeah.
I said to you, but you speak so well already.
Yeah.
And you can present so well.
Yeah.
So why do you need that training? Only to discover,
I do.
yeah.
I do. And I think self love is a consistent tapping in to be better, to be a better version of
A
who
better
you
version of who
are.
you are, yeah.
So, skin routine and all of those things, very much critical. But are you sitting and are you reviewing
At the core of
at
who
the
you
core
are.
of who you are? Do you actually love yourself? And but we must also be honest about the reality that considering our contexts, it's something that's so easily dismissed because everything else outweighs that one important factor.
Yes. Yes.
The reality is the fact that I walk in from 7 meetings, 3 different directives that I have to give across different projects. I'm getting into the car. I barely had time to put petrol in the car, so it's also beeping.
Yeah.
I then get home. Auntie chopped the onions, but I wanted rings, and then she gave me diced cubes, you know?
Yeah.
Then the kids are crying and everybody's gravitating. And also now, hubby's like, what's for dinner? In that moment, you didn't have a chance to be like, okay, who's up from the day? How am I feeling?
Yeah.
Okay, did I have a good day? You know, how am I feeling inside? Who do I miss? Who can I chat to? There isn't time for putting that together. But I remember a friend of mine saying, you know, there are moments that you miss because you're so enveloped by the world that you could have taken as an opportunity to actually do those things. You're driving, so where's your podcast? You know, you're at the grocery store, you're doing a grocery run. You could have your headphones on and be listening to something. And
Yeah.
praise and worship can be done kamokoloing if that's
Exactly.
what
100%,
helps you.
yeah.
There's just so many opportunities that we
miss.
We miss. We really miss. And I remember Mama was laughing at us, you and I. And I'm like, you know, Mama says we spend so much time on the phone. That potentially is the only time where our friendship has time to exist.
To exist, right? Because we don't see each other.
We don't see each other.
Yeah. We see each other more and more.
More, actually.
Yeah. And that's our time. Our time. That's self-love for us.
But what we can share that's also self-love is the planning. So I think the fundamental is around the planning, right? So even in our planning, we've spoken about a birthday party for February 2026.
Yes.
We've already started
planned
planning
that,
that.
yeah.
You know, you and the partner share a month birthday wise. We are planning for
planning
that.
for
So
that now,
we don't want to
yeah.
look back and be like, ish, hauna, what happened here, what happened there.
We're planning now.
We're planning now. So I guess it's realizing that a lot of it involves finding and centering the self and then putting measures in place that help you to be able to be like, okay, cool, I can account for all of these buckets. And to your point, the consistency is critical, but understanding that the consistency is going to come in waves. And I think for me, that's my key takeout from today. I'm like, you know what, Rhea, you have given me a word, and my word is, yes, I'm a consistency girl through and through.
Nice.
And previously, I've been the girl that goes to the gym 5 days a week. But now there is rest that I need to account for.
Correct.
So if I can do 4 days, it's still consistency.
Wow. So, you've kind of already answered.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you a wrap-up question, right?
Okay.
That if anyone who's watching this
Yeah.
was to just take away one key element or moment
Yeah.
on self-love and self-care and what it looks like for you, what would that one thing be?
So the one thing that's a nugget that I want to share about self-love, I think for me is, it's a question that I actually want to pose to the working mom. And my question is, you need to ask yourself if your reality is it an effort discussion or is it a monetary discussion? Because
It's more than the money.
it's more than the money, because it costs you nothing to plan your life. It costs you nothing to sit for 15 minutes and calm the waters and chat to whichever higher being that you believe in so that you can order yourself. So self-love is, are you accounting for it? Or are you looking for there to be more money? Because you'll consistently be looking outside
Outside
to
instead
say,
of
here are
internally.
things that are going to help me to be able to be saying I love myself.
Sure. Wow. That is powerful.
Right?
So powerful. So sure. Mo,
Come back, Ria.
I'm back. I'm definitely back. You've
Yeah.
actually given me something
to think
to
about.
think about. Yeah. And I think to just wrap it up, for me then, my reflection on this particular topic, I think it's even in Romans 12 verse 3,
Yeah.
where it says we ought not to think too highly of ourselves.
Sure.
I'm paraphrasing here.
Yeah.
Right? That we shouldn't think too highly of ourselves.
Yeah.
And I think with this episode, what it's done is that, yes, have self-love, right?
Yeah.
But it mustn't come from a place of ego, right? And narcissism.
Yeah.
And just be humble in your approach. And not to please others,
Sure.
but to serve self as well. I think that's what I've come out with from sitting here and talking to you about self-love.
Wow.
But yeah,
Thank you, partner. Thank you
Thank
for the
you.
nuggets. Thank you for the knowledge.
no, thank you. I think you've dropped so many gems today that I'm just like, I need to go back and check,
I need to check my list. Yeah.
Yeah. How I can improve. And it's not to say I've been doing anything wrong,
Yeah.
but it's to just improve
On, who
on
you
what
are.
I've been doing
Yeah.
and how I can take it to that next level and just elevate myself and always remind myself that I consistently need to operate from a spirit of excellence. Because for me, that always just makes me,
And it's who you are.
it's yeah.
It's definitely who you are.
So I'm just going to go polish up
Go polish up.
and make sure that I make you proud.
I hope you will. With that said, mommies, please don't forget to share, like, comment. We are on Instagram, we are on LinkedIn, we are on YouTube and Spotify.
Spotify, yeah.
For the mommies on the go, please find us on Spotify. On Spotify, it is the Working Mom Podcast. On YouTube, the Working Mom Podcast. On Instagram, the Working Mom.
Yeah. Thank you so much, guys, for tuning in, and we do hope that you'll enjoy this, and that this episode will also help you just reflect on what you've been doing and how you can improve and build on it. So, thank you so much. Catch you on the next one.